Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Terrence Shahid once again. For this video, I decided to kind of touch on, how to, move forward after being rejected from a Greek letter organization, more particularly Nphc organization, or more commonly referred to as a D9 organization. So let's get into it. All right. First thing is, try applying to become a member or expressing interest in potentially joining one of the Nphc organizations is almost similar to that of applying for a job. You let the hiring manager, or in this case, the members of the org, like maybe the president or vice president, etc., know that you're interested in joining. And just like a job, kind of have to present yourself like as someone who is ideal for the position. You're the top pick. You should be the top pick. You're making yourself known by showing up to events, and you're assisting, and just showing support. If there's a fundraiser or some kind of event, like like a movie night or some kind of mentorship, you're assisting, or just showing your face, just getting to know people on a general level. And just like a job, typically there's an interview. It's kind of like a little interview process, like kind of like a prelude to the actual intake and pledging process. Now, and just like a job, unfortunately, not everybody who applies gets in, and that can suck because if you were, say, if you were applying for a job and you give them your resume, your resume looks good, it looks decent, you've been kind and courteous, and you've been kind of highlighting your attributes, your qualities, your characteristics to the manager, and you do the interview and you feel like you aced it, and they, at the end of the interview, they give you that, we'll keep in touch. We'll let you know in a few days or in about a week, our decision and whatnot. And you walk away, you might be feeling like, you got a shot at it. And then you get that phone call or that email saying, yeah, thank you for applying, but unfortunately, we decided to go with another candidate or other qualified individuals, and et cetera, X, Y, Z. And, it can really like damage, kind of mess with your confidence a little bit, So I decided to kind of give a few tips and advice on how to, move forward and kind of improve your chances next time the opportunity may present itself to join that organization, should they have another opening for an intake. All right, so I'm going to start with the most personal piece of advice. The main one, and like I said, is the most important one, is do not take it personally. Okay, not everyone who gets into an NPHC organization, it's not necessarily because they didn't like you, or you might have done something particularly wrong. It might boil down to a few things, like on the college level. It may be because your GPA might not be high enough. Like, for example, if you had like a 2.51 and the requirements were 2.5, that means you're literally at the cusp. You are just barely making even, So in that case, you might want to kind of spend that semester bumping your GPA up, making sure your grades are up to par next time they might have an intake. So instead of having it at 2.51, you might want to bump it up, making sure it's at like a 2.8, 2.9, or 3.0. You feel me? All right. So try not to take it seriously. Or another reason it may be is because on your resume, you don't doesn't look like you're that involved on campus. So yes, you can say, yeah, you were a part of the anime club or the video game club, which is fine and whatnot. Nobody's gonna judge you for that. But a lot of times, what these organizations are looking for is how like the kind of involvement you have apart from that organization, what other orgs kind of highlight you? What positions have you held? Say, for example, if you were like student government president or vice president or secretary, or you were the head editor at the campus newspaper, or you did mentorship like in between classes at the local school district, or things of that nature, or helping out with Boy Scout or Girl Scouts on the weekends, things like that. They're looking for people who do things that kind of align with what they do as a chapter or as an organization as a whole. So making sure that you're well-rounded, just like how colleges, they look for people who will tend to be well-rounded or involved in different things and are shown to have a balance between like school life and personal life. Another reason could be is you may not, the people in the chapter may not know you that well. Think about it. Like, you're considering joining an organization where once you're in, you're joining a family essentially, and just like a family, like even let's say, for example, if you ever seen the movie Poetic Justice, there's a scene where Janet Jackson, Tupac, and the other two characters, they were getting hungry, so they decided to kind of crash a family picnic, like a family reunion or something like that. And the scene where Tupac gets out the car and he talking to the drunk uncle that's on the grill, pass himself off as like Lil Lucky, hey. It's kind of similar to that. Each org is like looking for people who are going to not only uphold the objectives and the missions of that particular organization, they're looking for people who have quality characteristics that they can look at and say, like, that's an active brother, or that is a stand-up sister right there. They're looking for people to join. Like, it's kind of like a family. So ultimately, you don't want to just bring any old body. Like, you're not just like, kind of like if you had like a relative who just brought home some random stranger off the street and you don't know them from a can of paint. It's kind of like, are you really going to be willing to accept this person, no questions asked, or are you going to want to get to know more about that person's background? What are their intentions once they kind of become more involved with that relative, and ergo the family as a whole? It's all about these organizations are trying to find out what are your intentions for joining. And a lot of times that's why it's important to kind of show your face, get to know people, because how can you expect someone to want you to be a part of the family if they don't really know you like that? So it's all about making sure, like, trying to get to know people, and not only get to know them, let them get to know you. Let them see, let them see who you are as a person, to the point where it's hard for them to turn that down. Say, what, I like they volunteer a lot. They're involved with their church. They pick up trash on the weekends. They volunteer. They mentor at schools, teaching them how to prepare for FAFSA and college applications. That's the kind of person I need, like, on this team. So essentially, it boils down to like those two things, like making sure the GPA is on par, making sure that you are well-rounded, you're involved in one or two different things on campus, and not only that, making sure you have experience in leadership roles, because a lot of times they're also not only looking for more members, they're also looking for members to fulfill roles as far as the e-board too, and also just making sure people actually have a chance to get to know who you are as an individual. So that's part, like, mainly on a college campus. For alumni, it's kind of similar, but kind of on a different scale. As far as alumni is concerned, just making sure it's kind of the same thing. Like, they're still looking for people who are involved, who are well-rounded. They manage their time efficiently. They have something to bring to the table. But on like kind of like a grander scale. So you're still looking for people who are involved in things like community service. Are they involved in the community? Do they do something that helps kind of improve a group of people's lives, like, for the better? And on graduate chapter level, being that you're not no longer on a college campus, one of the prerequisites is you have to have a college degree. Whether depending on the organization, it may require a 2-year associate's degree. Most of the time, it's a 4-year bachelor's degree or whatnot. So that's the main thing. And like I said, the other parts is just making sure, like, are you involved in the community at all, or what is your motivation for joining? Okay, things of that nature. Okay. Next part is do not, and I can't stress this enough, do not go onto social media and bash the organization that you tried to join and got rejected from. And here's a couple reasons why. One, it's petty for starters, because it's kind of like if you try to apply for a job at a Fortune 500 company, and you express how you've been a fan of this company for years, and you got rejected from the job that you were applying for, and you went to kind of just like talk trash about them on making posts about how how lame of a company you are, or trying to point out take subliminal shots at it, and it kind of just makes it seem like it's more like looks bad on you than them, because especially if like you express interest and all of a sudden you didn't get in on that first try, you're all of a sudden turn around and talking trash about them, about now that since you ain't got in. So then that kind of, in its essence, kind of shoot yourself in the foot, because okay, at one point you were expressing interest and now you're just kind of bad mouthing them. So it's like it just shows like obvious bitterness and insecurity, as opposed to just kind of just taking that on the chin and kind of learning from okay, kind of asking like to yourself, like what hindered me from getting in this time, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. Another reason why it's not the best idea is because, believe it or not, Greeks talk. Social media has made it very easy to kind of share like information amongst each other. So even if you may not, follow like a lot of Greeks, the fact of the matter is, all it takes nowadays, you got phones that screenshot stuff. All it takes is just a simple screenshot of, a subliminal tweet aimed at an organization. Next thing you know, it's where it spreads like wildfire. Okay, this person is talking about, this org, XYZ org and whatnot. So now, okay, that's how it is. All right, we'll see if, maybe they're going to show up at the next, interest meeting. We'll see if their attitude changes back then. But by then, you disrespected, the organization. So they're kind of like, nah, bro, we good. So that's a couple reasons why you shouldn't go on social media bashing the organization you got rejected from. Next one. Do not, I guess I say, don't try to, don't allow that bitterness feeling of rejection kind of make you look at the org differently. Like, remember, there was a point in time where you wanted to be part of the organization. And just because you got rejected the first time, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll never get another chance. Like I said earlier, it may be because something about your initial application, or your initial meeting with these people, something may not have been entirely up to par. So what you can do, instead of kind of just allowing rejection to hinder you, is to kind of say, hey, kind of approach one of the members, pull them to the side and kind of have a discussion with them, saying, hey, I saw that I didn't get picked up, and I was just kind of curious as to why that didn't happen. I thought I had everything together, and it just kind of sucks that I tried to do all this, and then something wasn't good enough. Is there anything I could have done better? And a lot of times they'll be willing to kind of walk it through with you, kind of say like, okay, well, one of the things that concerned us was that your GPA wasn't. It was just like right at the cusp, and like we don't want you to you know get trying to do all this and like have your GPA plummet because that would kind of defeat the purpose. Because each of the DNI orgs, they're adamant about making sure that the GPA is on point. Because if your GPA is low and you're trying to join, it's kind of like a contradiction. Every we all like each of the orgs have their standards as far as like maintaining a high or at least a moderate GPA. So that way, because academics are important, that's why these organizations exist. One of the reasons they exist anyway. Okay. Another piece of advice you can try to do is to be more active, like to be more active on campus, be more active in the community, depending on if you're trying to uh, enter through a college chapter or if in the community, if you're trying to do a grad chapter. It's all about like it's about making yourself known, like highlighting your qualities by becoming more active. So that way you can add it to a resume. You can kind of let people know, hey, like next time you get a chance to go about it, it's like, hey, since last time I kind of like did some research and kind of use this time productively to kind of be more involved, to kind of show you, hey, like I can handle this type of work. Like I'm all for trying to mentor kids, or I'm all about trying to promote scholarship, like fundraising for a charitable cause. So it's all about like just like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, it's almost if you're applying for a job. You don't want to just go and just like give your resume and all that's really on it is, okay, you worked at this job or you got this diploma or degree. You want to make yourself stand out, so that way it's hard for them to turn you down. Okay, so that being said, that's pretty much like all I had for this video. So if you have any questions or concerns or questions, feel free to comment in the comment section. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you want to be notified whenever I drop another video, feel free to hit the bell. Next time you get a little notification, that I released a new video. If you want to follow me on things like Instagram and Twitter, I'll leave my tags in the description section below. So that being said, I'll catch you guys later. See you soon.